Quite often, when you open your mouth and say pretty much anything to me, I often ask you the question of when did I ask? Now, usually this is considered to be an ironic question, but apparently you can't get that through that I'm a different kind of learner brain of yours. So, today we're going to take it one step further. I'm Mr. Bones with the AP College Board, microphone quality and all, and this is using math to find when I asked. So the first thing that we're going to want to do here is define our variables, right? The things that we're trying to find. And since the primary question here is when did I ask, we can assume that time, big T, is the thing that we're looking for here. Don't worry about units for now, they won't be important. And another important thing that we want to take into account is how much I care about what you said, right? So we're going to say that C represents how much I care. So what's cool about this is that we can actually also say that C, how much I care, is equal to how interested I am in what you said, because apparently you can't tell. So now that we know this, we can actually get an equation for C. We can say that C equals the total interest, which means that C equals the interest felt, the interest I actually feel about what you said, times the interest I show. So the interest that you see from me. And since I feel just about as interested as I've shown to you in what you said, we could say that the interest felt is equal to the interest shown, which means that C is equal to I squared. Cool, now we got an equation for C. So the final thing we gotta know is, how do we actually know when I asked? Like, how do we know what time t is when I asked? Now, this might be a tough one for you, but to any normal person, they would be able to reasonably deduce that the time when a person probably asked about something that you would have said is at the time that they were the most interested, that they cared the most about it. So, we can say that time, and then t represents when I actually asked, equals the maximum value of how much I care. When I asked is when I cared the most. So now we've got all this information, and we know what we want to find. We want to find the absolute maximum value of C, how much I care. So let's plot C versus I squared, right? Everybody loves a good graph in math, don't we? Everybody loves a good graph. So let's draw a graph in the xy plane, and we're going to say that the y is C and the x is I. C versus I. And now remember, since C equals I squared, we got to remember what the general graph of y equals x squared looked like. And it looks like this sort of curvy U here. And these arrows keep going. And these arrows mean that this function goes on forever. They do not stop, which means that C does not have a maximum value, which means that the maximum value of how much that I care does not exist. And in math, we call that a DNE. So since the time that I asked equals the maximum value of how much I care, which doesn't exist, we now know that the time that I asked does not exist. Therefore, I never asked. And there it is. So the next time that you ask me something stupid like, who the hell are you and how did you get in my house? And I respond with, when did I ask? Now you know the answer. Thanks for listening, and never stop learning.